best college football coverage in Utah is on the KSL Sports Zone. Ready? The Aggies look to pick up their first Mountain West Conference win with a trip to Wyoming. Catch all the play-by-play action on your radio home of the Aggies. 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. It is JJ and Alex, 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone. We are outside the Delta Center on the plaza where I think they're tuning up some instruments for a concert that's going to fire up. Sam Farnsworth is in the house.
Yes, he is. And we got somebody over here slapping the bass.
Somebody is slapping the bass, getting warmed up here on the plaza. There's going to be a giant party out here. They're doing it right, just like they do. So you're going to have a concert starting out here at 5 o'clock, which means we're going to be maybe blasted out a little bit as JJ gets slapping the bass as well. So, Jazz versus Grizzlies. It's your home opener right here in the home of the Utah Jazz, the KSL Sports Zone. Before we talk more about the Jazz, though, today, let's jump in. This is a fun one for us. We chatted with him during the spring, and now that we're halfway through the football season, we get to chat with Ted Pardee as well. Again, the Houston Cougars radio analyst. Ted, thanks for joining the program, man. Good to have you back.
Hey, thanks. It's awesome to be here.
Help us understand a little bit about what's going on with this Houston Cougars team. It's year one, of course, of a new head coach, and obviously there's turmoil that happens when you just have changeover like that in the offseason. How are the Houston Cougars looking this year? I know 2-5 isn't what they love, but as a team, where are they at?
Well, listen, as a team, I think they're really like a lot of folks at mid-year trying to figure out, what's their identity going to be for the second half of the year. The Cougars started off the season starting quarterback Donovan Smith, really felt like this was going to be Donovan's breakout year. Behind the scenes, I think insiders understood Donovan was coming off of a labrum surgery. For anybody that knows quarterbacks, it's the equivalent of a Tommy John surgery for a pitcher. It's not easy to get over that. So, Donovan he's a great leader. He's an upperclassman, obviously senior. He's a transfer from Texas Tech. So he's played big-time football. He beat Houston in double overtime a couple years back. It was in a barn burner up in Lubbock. But I hate to focus on the quarterback, but you know what? As you guys know, I hate to say it comes down to the quarterback. Yeah. And if your leadership and your playmaking ability isn't there, it's tough to scramble around. Backup quarterback Zion Chris had a huge game against TCU. Cougar faithful thought that was going to be the difference, but look, you got to strap on that chin strap every week, and I think the Cougars are really looking for that final sort of definitive who's going to be the guy.
So what happened last week? They get that nice win over TCU. It looks like they figured some things out, and then Kansas puts it on them. What changed week to week there?
Well, I think it's you put some of your offense on tape, and what Zion Chris does so well is he runs the ball. He's a true triple option threat quarterback, and when you realize that, and you realize that his strength is not passing the ball, he's not a bad passer. He's just not a gunslinger like the University of Houston is used to having. And when you can do that, you put an extra dude in the box. You kind of take away the lanes, and it really affects the ability of the offense to be effective. And, I think that, candidly, I think that look, you go up to Kansas. Kansas was overdue. Their only win was against Lindenwood, right. and they were way overdue for a win. They played a really good game offensively, and then, as I said, defensively, they took away everything from Zion when he was out there. So Donovan had to come back in and try to throw it around a little bit.
What's the Houston defense been like this year? I mean, obviously you give up 45 against Kansas last week, and you think, wow, they're in bad shape there. But like you said, there's an immense amount of talent on that Kansas team that hadn't been tapped into yet. Sorry, I guess they scored 42, but they yeah. What is it about this Houston defense? I mean, Willie Fritz has got a lot to figure out, obviously. It's just like this. I feel like there's a ton of talent at Houston all the time. I grew up in Texas, and Houston would just usually get that trickle down of a lot of talent. Now they're in a P4 conference, and I think people were expecting there might be a little bit of that more staying power. So what's Willie Fritz doing in this first year to kind of be able to figure some things out with this team?
Awesome question, and you're right on. The Houston Cougars were always able to recruit those athletes that, might be overlooked. We'll call them a 2-star, maybe a 3-star guy, and they end up becoming just unbelievable athletes. You look at a guy in the NFL right now, Grant Stewart, and Grant Stewart just set the record for 19 tackles. He plays for the Colts. He was like a walk-on. He was Mr. Irrelevant in the draft. That's what the University of Houston has been built on for decades. There are still guys like that on this defense, and if let's kind of, if we can, overlook that Kansas game, and you look back at the previous games, even against Oklahoma, the University of Houston defense was solid. And walking into the Kansas game, I thought that, hey, the best part of this Houston Cougar defense, or the best part of this Houston Cougar team, is its defense. Again, you got to kind of tip your hat to the Jayhawks. They kind of came out with a game plan that they felt like they could execute, and they did, and it kept Houston on its heels the whole time. Houston had a hard time getting out on third down, whereas previously in the year they'd done quite well. So it was a real head-scratcher, but I think it was just one of those games. Again, I'm going to say that Kansas was overdue, and they played at the level that we'd seen Kansas play last year and the year before, where Kansas was kind of impressing folks in the past. But, Houston's still trying to figure it out. It's not uncommon in the first year for a new coach to struggle like this. I think most of the University of Houston faithful are going to, they're going to give Willie Fritz some time on this. He had a tough year. I think they had 3 wins in his first year at Tulane. So, Cougar fans just need to be patient. They need to work the system today, which is you got to go get high school kids, but you got to work the portal hard. So, we're not throwing the towel in. We're not saying we're done for the season, but I think that folks understand that, at this point, the Cougars are looking to just rattle together, put some wins together so that they finish the season strong.
Well, Ted, I never thought I'd say this before the season started, but Houston's got a great opportunity this week against Utah. That sounds weird to say, but Utah is really struggling right now, especially offensively. 3 straight losses, struggling to score points. Does Houston view this as a great opportunity to find one of those wins? And how are they feeling going into this game, knowing that Utah's struggling so much offensively?
Well, I think first off, I'm a Cam Rising fan. Obviously, I'm really sad to see him get injured. I saw the injury happen, against Arizona State when he got dinged up. I feel like he's such a great leader, and I'm, as a football fan and just as a fan of football in general, you hate to see a great athlete like that take a hit. Excited to see Isaac Wilson. Obviously, the Houston Cougars saw his brother up close and personal when they played BYU down here in Houston during the COVID year. Obviously we're not comparing brothers. We're not doing that. But, look, a young man there, saw his game last week, obviously, made some mistakes, scrambled around, tried to make plays. I respect that in that athlete. He is going to try to fight as hard as he can. But can he rise up the way that the quarterback position is so critical in college football, especially P4 football? It puts a lot of pressure on those young men. And, I think that the Cougar defense, they just need to get back to basics. The way they played against Oklahoma is what I'm going to refer to. Look, be smart. Don't give up the big play. Don't penalize yourself. Those are the key things that Houston is focused on this week. They're really looking internally more than they are looking at the opponent. They're saying, look, we need to clean up our business and just take care of it the way we've done it in the past.
What is the approach then to this Utah team? When you look at kind of how Houston can have success, what's the best? This is kind of a pregame question that you guys, I'm sure, be chatting a lot about. But what's the thing that you look at and you go, you know what, Houston can do X, Y, or Z against Utah, and I think Utah might be a little bit surprised at how good Houston may be at those things.
Well, the first one is offensively. I think what the Cougars need to do is they need to get back to ball control. Which is I'm an old run and shoot guy. Played with Andre Ware. We were never ball control. We were all about scoreboard, right? So for me to say that is a big step. But the way that Willie Fritz builds his teams and the way that I think college football is today, the teams that can really play solid offense and control the ball and play clean defense are the ones that are going to be successful. So take away the mistakes, take away the penalties. You can't have, 40, 50 yards in penalties or 70 yards in penalties like the Cougars have had in the past. You can't do that and expect to beat a team like the Utah Utes. Listen, preseason, I had the Utah Utes in the top 5, maybe top 4 in the nation. And sure, injuries get everybody, but that's still a great football team, explosive on offense and deadly on defense. The Cougars need to play keep away. They need to control the ball. They need to control the clock. And I do think, if you look back, what was it about the game against Oklahoma or the TCU game? You win the clock battle, it's hard to play catch-up because then you put the opposing team in a situation where they've got to sling it. That's when the chess match gets really interesting for this Cougar defense that's very fast. The back end of this Cougar defense, defensive backs, a lot of speed out there. That's another sort of calling card of University of Houston teams. They're going to have fast DBs. So, it's easier said than done. The way I describe it sounds easy, right? Hey, just play keep away, keep the ball away, right? But it's old-fashioned football. But that's to me what Houston has to do if they want to prevail against the Utah Utes.
Ted Pardee, you're not the Utah radio analyst, my goodness. You're the Houston radio analyst, of course, with Utah going down to Houston this week. We're looking forward to it. Thanks for jumping on with us and giving us a little bit of a preview, and have fun on the call this weekend.
Yeah, you bet. All right, man. Looking forward to a great game.
There you go.
Thanks, Ted.
Utah fans are like, please don't be a good game.
I think it's going to be a good game, but not in a good way. You have two of the worst offenses in the league. And I think both teams are going to struggle to score.
Oh, well,
I hope I'm wrong. I hope Utah, with the change at offensive coordinator, finds a spark. I honestly hope Houston's more entertaining than I think. And Ted talked about it. Maybe this change at quarterback, maybe that helps him a little bit. But I want to see a fun football game. I want to see a Utah Utes football game that I don't want to turn off in the second quarter.
Sure.
And that's what I wanted to do the other night. It was bad football.
Ugh. Yeah, we'll see. I'm really looking forward to seeing how the guys fire back up, because the response of losing an offensive coordinator and how you guys are going to respond, and just losing a coach midseason anyway is crazy. It's a hard thing to have to go through.
But
so
what was the response after the players-only team meeting?
Yeah, you're right.
What I mean?
That's disheartening. Yeah.
At some point, this just becomes who you are, and that would be really disturbing if this is who this group is.
Hey, we want to remind people, you can nominate your youth sports volunteer in your neighborhood for the Hercules Hero of the Week. We were just talking about how cool of a program this is. It's so awesome to be able to highlight the members of the community who are typically that volunteer youth sports, coach, or maybe there's somebody at the city who just does an above and beyond job in the municipality where you live, or, it takes over the sports, in the youth in your area, and it's just they do a phenomenal job. Let's highlight those with the Hercules Hero of the Week. All you have to do, and let me just ask you to do this, go home or get on your phone and go to kslsports.com/contest, and every Thursday we read off those nominations that you give. Those parents and those team moms and those assistant coaches, they don't do this for recognition, but you know what? We can recognize them, and we love to do it. Courtesy of the folks of Hercules Federal Credit Union and Beehive Meals. They get a $50 gift card from Hercules Credit Union and $200 to Beehive Meals. It's a win-win. We get to highlight them and get to honor those folks who do such a phenomenal job. You've got kids that benefit from people who are doing this exact thing in your neighborhood. So kslsports.com/contest, and we will read those off every Thursday. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back, and when we do, we have a Would You Rather. Don't want to miss any of it. We've got some baseball questions in there. We've got some NHL questions in there. I'll throw an NBA question in there as well. Stay with us. We're outside Delta Centers. They're warming up on the tenor saxophone over there.
Bleeding Gums Murphy, everybody.
No problem. That's what I played. That's what I played in middle school. The old tenor sax. Let's go. All right, we'll take a break. More to go around the corner right here. 97.5 KSL Sports Zone.